Welcome back, guys, to another episode of What the X. This is What the X, episode 70. If you guys haven't heard about this story, that's kind of been going pretty big recently with the ICE shooting in Minneapolis, of all places, Minnesota, where that whole tax fraud stuff that we've been talking about has been going on. This is episode 70 of What the X. And just to start off, guys, just, you know, I know that it's a big news story, but there's a person at the end of the day that lost their life. And to pay respects, I asked Chat GPT, of all things, yeah, I know, to make a nice prayer for Renee Nicole Goode, the victim of this ICE shooting that took place earlier. So here's a prayer for Renee. Holy One, we lift up the soul of Renee Nicole Goode, a mother, a daughter, a friend, a woman whose life carried meaning far beyond the moment it was taken. May she be wrapped now in a peace that cannot be shaken, a rest that cannot be disturbed, a love that cannot be undone. Hold her family in comfort. Let their grief be met with compassion, their questions with understanding, their sorrow with the quiet presence of those who care. May Renee's memory be a blessing, not only a reminder of loss, but a reminder of the light she carried, the words she wrote, the love she gave, and the humanity she embodied. Guide us toward a world where such tragedies no longer occur and where every life is honored with dignity. Amen. Shout out to the big man up top. Yeah, hopefully her soul's at peace, and I'm so sorry for her family and her kids. It's such a tragic story, guys, and it's one that upsets me a lot because I just feel like it's super could have been prevented, and I feel like there was so many factors that are in play, and there's blood on a lot of people's hands that I want to get into. Let's just go with some tweets here. I think the biggest one that we're going to talk about is JD Vance. JD Vance says, I want every ICE officer to know that their president, vice president, and the entire administration stands behind them. To the radicals assaulting them, doxing them, and threatening them, congratulations. We're going to work even harder to enforce the law. And that's pretty much JD Vance just kind of doubling down on ICE enforcement, which, from the left viewpoint, from the leftist side, is very problematic to think about further arming, these ICE agents. But at the same time, do not get in their way and stuff. It's a very tragic event, and so that I just wanted to say what JD Vance had to say because he kind of got a whole lot of people riled up. Just the lack of empathy, I guess, that's felt here. I don't think it's right, maybe calling her. She went in out of her way. It sounds. Hopefully, they'll just do a full investigation. I don't want to say anything too soon, but it sounds like she kind of put herself in that setting for that to sadly occur. So I don't want to, and we're just gonna move on, guys, to the next tweet because we got a few tweets here. This one is from Bernie Sanders, who's on the other side, on the left. You know that, and we've talked about him quite a bit. Bernie Sanders says, what happened in Minneapolis is sickening. ICE shot dead an unarmed American citizen in broad daylight. Instead of accountability, the Trump administration is now calling the young mother they killed a domestic terrorist. We need real immigration reform, not a militarized ICE. And good old Bernie Sanders. I have a lot of thoughts on him, guys. Again, just empty promises. He's a career politician. He's made his living off of the taxpayer dime and not really doing anything. What does that even mean? What do you mean we need real immigration reform? What else does real immigration reform look like? That's why I hate, because it's like Yes, they're people at the end of the day. Everybody is. But, like, you're going to just ask people to kindly leave? No. I mean, the whole reason this is happening is because of a horrendous open border policy that went under the Biden administration. And then now you're seeing what happens as an effect of that. And what's so sad is that it's like these people are trying to act like they're high and mighty, but they're really just using these poor refugees a lot of the times, these illegal immigrants, these people, for political to use them as pawns, political pawns. That's what I see them being used as tools. Look at the whole Minnesota tax fraud. There's such an incentive to look the other way to the fraud that was going on when a huge population is going to vote for you, and then you're going to keep winning elections. It's basic math, guys. And it's like these people aren't doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. They're just making a buck off of us, and that's the sad thing about it. And then to just come out here and say, "Oh, we need real immigration reform." What's that look like, Bernie? What's real immigration reform look like? That's just like you should ask when politicians say, "Yeah, and we're gonna make sure that uh, student loan forgiveness and no more like uh like all these loans being forgiven." Just how? It's used, taxpayer money is used to do those kinds of things. So it's like, what? You're robbing Paul to pay Peter, as they say, or maybe I got it reversed, but you know what I'm saying. So I cannot stand Bernie Sanders, to say the least. And then for him just to like take a moment to say something like that has no real meaning to it, real immigration reform. Okay, thanks, bud. Yeah, what else does that look like? Unfortunately, the world we live in, you can't just ask people to kindly leave. Why would you want to leave? Seriously, I love this country. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I understand from maybe even the perspective of an illegal immigrant coming over that it's just a tragic situation. But let's continue because we got more guys. Mayor Zoran Kwame Mamdani, he says about the whole thing. This morning, an ICE agent murdered a woman in Minneapolis. Only the latest horror in a year full of cruelty. As ICE attacks our neighbors across America, it is an attack on us all. New York stands with immigrants today and every day that follows. Again, they just love to omit the word illegal. They omit the word illegal. Everyone loves immigrants. Well, not everyone. I don't want to say everyone loves immigrants, but I mean, like, no one, like, the main majority of people have no issue with immigrants, legal immigrants. It's when you get in, dude, it's just crazy. And then this morning, an ICE agent murdered a woman in Minneapolis. The wording of that, murdered a woman. He killed a woman, which was tragic, yes, but why was she there? It's because of the same messaging that we get from these leftist politicians like Mayor Zoran Kwame Mamdani, who's making out ICE to look like, and he didn't say it in that line there, but he's called Trump a fascist and the administration basically Nazis. And Bernie Sanders is really no different in that respect. All the leftists are saying the same kind of rhetoric about ICE and how they're the Gestapo. Can you even blame this woman if she's consuming all of this media and all of this messaging, like from CNN, for prime example, of ICE looking and being villainized and looking like Nazis? Then yeah, you're gonna see ICE agents get attacked a lot. The blood is really on the hands of politicians like Mayor Zoran Kwame Mamdani and also like Bernie Sanders. It's on their hands for real, because just like playing into the freaking liberal mind playbook, they're villainizing ICE, and then people are coming after ICE like ICE are literal Nazis, because who wouldn't try to take out a Nazi? No one likes Nazis. You know what I'm saying? That's why they have that whole playbook in there. And then so it's like this poor lady, is willing to give up is willing to put herself in a dangerous situation like that because she feels so deeply about something. This is assumptions because they need to do an investigation and figure it all out. But if she's getting all this media, I would love to see the media she consumed just to know. Because when you get the rhetoric that these group of people are Nazis all the time, you will really believe that Nazis need to die. So it's like, yeah, maybe he killed her in self-defense. Is that hard to believe? Again, full investigations. We need to see everything and get to the bottom of it. It's still just a tragedy. But let's go on to another one. This is a much different voice from the other side of the aisle. This is Nick Fuentes, our good buddy Nick here. Anyone who obstructs ICE should be arrested immediately. Enough is enough. The feds have the authority to deport illegal immigrants, and Trump has a political mandate for mass deportations. This is an insurrection, and it should be put down with the full force of federal government. And, I hate to be the one, I just, again, I feel like, yeah, maybe I do lean pretty right in a lot of things. But, I mean, he's absolutely right with what he's saying about Trump having a mandate for these deportations. That's the platform he ran on, and he's a businessman. He gets deals done. He does negotiations. That is there's you got to take the morality out of it with a guy like that. So it's like, yeah, maybe he's a bad guy, but at least he's our bad guy. At least he's fighting on our side. But he has a mandate and a number to reach, and you have to actually do actions, Bernie Sanders, because it's again, I want to bring Bernie Sanders up again because he says we need real immigration reform. Again, what does real immigration reform look like? I'm not saying that I just love talking about real immigration reform, but I mean, you're not going to get that without using like an agency like ICE out there to actually be the bad guys and do it. That's what it comes down to. It's like people need the bad guy sometimes when they don't want to have to face the harsh truth, and everyone wants to virtue signal and act like they're all goody two shoes. But it's like, would you take in all these? Go ahead, take in 10 refugees into your house. It's just so easy to try to be like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy in a lot of places. Both sides play off each other. So I don't think a lot of people try to argue too all the time and be like, oh, uh, yeah, you think I know like when we call out like Somali tax fraud and it's like, oh yeah, but Trump's allowed to be on the Epstein list and be a criminal. It's like, yeah, hey, two things can be true at the same time. We can acknowledge that Trump is not a good guy, but I can also acknowledge that there might be a huge amount of fraud going on over in Minnesota. And then you have this sad ass shooting going on, and people maybe getting indoctrinated. Who knows? We all are programmed to a certain degree. I'll say that much. We all consume TV, and there's advertisements and everything like that. Enough. I'm. This is what the X. This is what we're here for. So this is the last tweet that we're gonna go over. It's Sean Strickland. It's a fighter. This is Sean Strickland here, the MMA fighter, the badass, the killer. Are you liberals really that fucking stupid? She was illegally obstructing law enforcement. They had cause to detain her. She fled the police and in the process hit an agent with her car. Intent does not matter. The fact is she used a deadly weapon to flee a lawful detainment. So a little harsh. Sean Strickland is never one to mince words. So, again, I feel like I'm not someone that's gonna come out here and say that she's stupid or that it was dumb of her. I mean, she shouldn't have been there. Yeah. And then it's like, do you think about your kids? And it's like, why would you even put yourself in that situation? And then I just try to think maybe she has this true in her bones belief that these are Nazis and you got to take them out. Then maybe it's like justified in her thought process, because your reality is limited to your experience, I guess. It's just a super sad story. I'm just venting. It's late again. Just trying to do another What the X. This is What the X episode 70. Again, uh, respect and prayers to Renee Goode, and I hope that she rests in peace, and that she doesn't stay politicized, and we focus on being better, all of us. And maybe I hope that someone really does have a real solution on real immigration reform. I'd love to hear it. That doesn't involve some form of militaristic action. I don't I don't see one when I'm playing the chessboard. But if someone else can see it, please show me the way. Again, everybody love everybody, even in this world where everything just seems so crazy. Everybody love everybody. Thank you so much. Another episode of What the X. If you like that clip, feel free to click on this clip or even this clip. And then, hey, don't forget about that clip over here. Thanks, guys.